How's it going, everybody? Ghillie Guy here. Hope you've all been healthy and safe. The purpose for this video today is to discuss or talk about some snow camo that I picked up in the summer that I've recently kind of done my thing to it and created a lightweight snow ghillie suit. So this is some snow camo that I picked up in the summertime, which is a good period to pick up some cold weather gear or waterproof rain gear, because a lot of people are just not in the market at that time for that type of clothing, so you can get some good deals and sales on that. This is some old German snow camo. It does have some splotches or bursts of some olive drab green areas that kind of represent pine needles or like a pine branch. And this thing's very lightweight. It's almost like a painter's suit. There's no insulation on this thing. It's not waterproofed in any way. It's not water resistant or waterproof. I've got to wear this gear or this clothing, this lightweight ghillie suit on top of some other type of warm or cold weather clothing, etc. Before I started working on this build, I had to go to the local fabric store and I picked up some fabric. Some of the first fabric here is a remnant piece of what I picked up, but it's very stretchy. And I use this to kind of wrap some of my rifles with, just to help with the camouflage, like the one behind me here. I used it to wrap that, but I also now, with this remnant piece of fabric, I can easily turn it into like a face wrap, or I can cut some other, couple inch wide strips and create some hand wraps that I can wrap my gloves with, my snow gloves or whatever. But I did not use this type of stretchy fabric on the actual snow ghillie suit here. What I did use is this other type of fabric, which is just like a bed sheet. It's a white bed sheet practically, the type of fabric it is. And I did cut some strips of this and also use it on my rifles, but this is the type of material that I used for all these smaller strips on this lightweight snow ghillie suit. Being at the fabric store, I needed to pick up some glue that I'd be using on this build, so I've never used it before and I wanted to try it. I picked up some Gorilla fabric glue. This is what I use to adhere all these strips and some of the camo netting to the snow camo. I picked up 2 tubes of this and used one entire tube, and I used a little bit of this also on this suit, just to give you an idea of how much glue I did use on this suit. While I was also at the fabric store, I picked up some of this other glue, which works very well for ghillie crafting. It also works well on boots. It is like a boot repair glue, which I've repaired some of my boots with it, and I've also used it for some ghillie suit crafting. So if you're ever looking to start some of your own ghillie suit projects, these are 2 really good glues to pick up. This Gorilla Glue does say it's washer and dryer safe, but who knows when I'm going to actually be testing out the durability of that. This is a type of snow camo or suit here that I have no plans on washing anytime soon. I'll be using it when the snow's on the ground, and in practically whiteout conditions. I'm not going to be trying to play in the mud or the dirt with it and get it all dirty. The same day I went out to the fabric store, I was doing laundry. And I saw this laundry bag, which is made of some fabric or material that's mesh. It's a mesh fabric. I can see through it. It does obstruct my view a little bit, but I actually still see very well through it. Then seeing what this fabric was, I knew exactly what I could use it for. I did not spot this at the fabric store. Maybe I didn't look all that hard. But sometimes it's really cool when you find something at your house that you can utilize. So what I did is I cut out a section of this and I glued it on the inside of my hood here. What hangs in front of my face is a piece of that laundry bag. And it works very well to kind of, cover my face. I still can see through it, but when I'm in a hide and waiting for prey to come across my path, what I can be doing too is I can drape this face cover, and I can drape it up over my rifle scope and my rifle, which will help to break up that profile of me, holding my rifle and whatnot. And then when I'm not using it, I can easily just flip it out of the way, or I can just, kind of tuck it right into the hood itself. So that's what I use. Kind of cool. Saw a laundry bag and utilize that for my face covering. It works very well. The first step when I started creating this ghillie suit, I started working on those OD green splotches or bursts on here. I started using some of this camouflage netting that I have, and I would just tear off pieces of this netting, and I would just glue it onto my suit here. And I wouldn't put glue on the entire piece that I tore off. I'd put glue roughly where my fingers are, and where I'm holding this little piece. Roughly is where right here, where I'd have the adhesive, and I'd glue it onto my suit. I'd still want some of that camouflage netting to hang down and dangle and be able to move in the wind and kind of add some movement and break up my profile depending on where I've placed it at. So that was the first step. I did that all on both the pants and the top, front and back. Once I was done with that, then I started using that white sheet type of material and cutting into strips. And that's where a lot of the time was just me actually cutting the material, getting it ready for it to be adhered to my snow camo suit and top. And how I'm going to kind of walk in here, how I've attached these. Hope you can kind of see this. They all kind of hang down over themselves. Where I glued it is here, not up on top, where if it hangs downward, it's going to hang flush. If there's any sort of static electricity on the suit, I didn't want it to stick. I wanted to make sure it's hanging in a fashion that it's going to move around with very little resistance. So that's what I've done. Here's the strip again. I glued it basically on the bottom of the strip, so when it's glued on, it just hangs over itself. Hopefully you guys can see that and kind of understand what I'm doing with that. Here's a little larger strip that I started off with, roughly an inch wide, glued it down. Then I cut it into smaller strips, but as you can see, it hangs downward. I hung those strips in that fashion. So again, it hangs over itself, but they're right on the edge of moving. Any sort of jostle of my body or any sort of light breeze or wind, these things should move around and kind of trick the eye, help me blend into my surroundings and whatnot. So that's what I did and how I had fixed a lot of those strips. I have them all over the suit, on my sleeves, on the back, but I also have it on the inside of my sleeve so it could hang over my hands or my gloves. When I'm using them, my hands are bare right now, but they wouldn't be like that in the mountains. And I've also attached on it, the bottom edge of my jacket, etc. And, there it is. It was actually a fun project. Really didn't take me all that long, a couple days, and it works very well in the snow. I've taken some really good test photos and whatnot, and it does work. But what I also did figure out, and this is definitely a big piece of advice, if you're looking to getting a piece of some snow camo like this, a system that's supposed to be worn over your existing clothing or your existing gear, definitely go big on the size. Go big. If you think you've gotten it big enough, go 1 or 2 sizes bigger. I'd rather have this thing be bigger and baggier than have it being a little too tight where it could restrict my movement and whatnot. So that's one thing I noticed. If I was to wear a big, huge snow jacket with a lot of insulation, or snow pants, again, that are a little bulkier due to the insulation, some of this stuff might be a little bit tight to have it on there. So that's one thing I learned. I'll probably be making at least some other pants down the road, because these pants are just a little bit tight for me if I was to wear my actual ski pants in them. So that's at least one big thing I would recommend. Definitely go bigger on the size. It's better to have it bigger and baggier than have it be just a little too tight. I think I've pretty much gone over everything. I can't think of anything else to really hit upon. Those glues, the Gorilla fabric glue is very good. The shoe goo is very good glue also. If you have any comments or questions or something you would like me to elaborate a little bit more on, please put it in the comment line. I have no problem answering questions, or if I need to, I can go a little bit further in depth on something if I wasn't very clear on it, or if you want just a little bit more, detail on something that I may have mentioned. Otherwise, stay healthy, stay safe. See you on the battlefield. Ghillie Guy is out.